Ooh.
All right, Ruth. What is one word you would use to describe yourself?
One word I would use to describe myself is ambitious. That has its negatives and its positives. So ambitious in the sense that I have a lot of lofty goals and dreams, but I am a very type A person. So when things don't go as planned, sometimes that throws me off a little bit. And nothing goes as planned. I always say man plans and God laughs, but everything happens for a reason, so I try and remind myself of that. As for the negatives, sometimes I am overambitious with my time. I sometimes pack myself on my heavy days, so sometimes I am overambitious with my time. I sometimes overload myself on my heavier days. So that's something that I always have to be careful of, but I'd say ambitious.
Great. Okay, so
Yeah.
may not be the best spot.
No, you're totally fine.
Okay.
I think it's good.
So these questions are going to be centered around NC Fellows.
Perfect.
So, could you explain to me what NC Fellows is?
Yeah. So NC Fellows to me, so NC Fellows is a leadership cohort. Starting at the end of your first year, you have the opportunity to join through this kind of selective interview process of first doing an application and then a day of interviews, and then after that, they see if you're a right fit for the cohort. In addition, it is an academic program as well. So we do have a sophomore year seminar as well as a senior year seminar that's a capstone class. And so the first seminar is about leadership, asking questions about what it means to be a leader on campus and do that effectively, but also probing the mind and getting us to think about things differently, such as identity and things like that. And then we have monthly meetings with all the other fellows, so sophomore, juniors, and seniors, as well as class meetings. And there are a bunch of committees. So let's say we have the service committee, which I am on, and we'll have a meeting and we'll start brainstorming how we can collaborate with organizations in the UNC community. So let's say, a student org, or in the greater Chapel Hill community as well. So let's say Marion Cheek Jackson Center. So it has been a formative experience for me, I would say, in the sense that it gives me another centralized group to go to if I have questions, if I have a problem. It's just so refreshing to see all of my fellows after we haven't seen each other since sophomore year, because that's when we're in class together, and then we just don't see each other that much on campus. So it's so nice to have those kind of organized times and opportunities to meet up and just decompress.
Great. So why did you join NC Fellows?
I joined NC Fellows because I was actually kind of tapped by a mentor of mine to look into it, and so seeing her and then a couple people before me who I knew said they were in it, they really enjoyed their time, and it was low maintenance and less stress than any other extracurricular they've done. And I wanted something like that, like a place to be with people who were kind of aspiring to be leaders, but also not in a competitive way. I think that UNC very much contributes to this campus clout culture in which a lot of students are, booked and busy or always doing X, Y, and Z. But I think that Fellows is like actively working to counteract that, and it's more focused on impact. And so being with people like that, having access to really wonderful advisors like Sydney Howell and Shauna, who they are so focused on pouring into us, and really we can vent to them about anything. I think just seeing that it really was the kind of community, fostering that type of community that I really, really wanted. So yeah.
Great. So what do you like most about NC Fellows?
What do I like most about NC Fellows? Besides the free food at our gatherings, what I like most about NC Fellows is just seeing all the fellows. Like it's a while since we've seen each other, since that first sophomore class, or since
Can you repeat just that first sentence?
Right,
like,
yeah.
Besides seeing, that
Yep.
was perfect. Just repeat that.
Besides free food at all of our meetups, what I like most about NC Fellows is seeing all of my fellows, whether they're incoming sophomores or seniors who are about to graduate from the program, just because we don't get to meet up and run into each other on campus. Besides our sophomore classes, in which we're all in a central place, we all gather on Thursdays for 3 hours. After that, it's not like that. So that's a very unique opportunity. So being in Fellows, being able to see everyone and just decompress. We could be talking about something very serious and we'll all just like burst out laughing, just because like that's how we vibe with one another. So
Awesome. So what have you learned from NC Fellows? It can be one thing, it can be like a broad scope of things.
I think what I've learned from NC Fellows is particularly finding time for yourself as a student leader. That is something, like I said, being a very ambitious person, sometimes I lose time when it comes to self-care and just having me time. And I'm an introvert, so it's crucial that when it's time for me to recharge, I do take time to step back. One of my fellows advisors, if not for fellows, I wouldn't have met her, Sydney. She is like someone I can vent to whenever I need something, whenever I just want to check in. She has been so integral to kind of reinstilling the importance of taking care of yourself, and finding other classmates who are supportive in that. For example, Brian Mejia, he is our fellows leader this year, but he's in my cohort, and so he's in my psych class, and it's just so nice to be with him and then just like talking, whether it's outside of psych or in the SLL office, and just have someone who kind of gets it and understands the importance of self-care and those things, and understanding that you can't pour from an empty cup. I think that's something that Fellows has definitely re-emphasized for me.
Great. Awesome. So do you have a favorite NC Fellows memory? So do you have any memories from NC Fellows that sort of stick out with you?
My favorite NC Fellows memory has to be, I think it was at the end or nearing the end of our sophomore seminar, in which we got in a circle and just basically anonymously complimented one another. Essentially it was like, oh, if you think this person is funny, tap them on the shoulder or something like that. We just kind of went around, and that was just really affirming. And it was like, tap someone you think doesn't realize like the greatness in them, and just like you tap someone, and that was just very affirming, and hearing that from your fellow classmates and people who genuinely wanted to be there was very sweet. I'll never forget that. It was actually a very emotional time. So
me too. I love that.
Yeah, it was right before I went abroad, and I was like, y'all.
Yeah, no, it was the culmination of our like sort of class.
Yes.
It was so sweet.
Mm-hmm.
And we tried to do it again at the retreat, and just like did not.
Are you see?
Yeah,
oh.
It did not sit as well because we weren't as close. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Okay, so if someone was interested in joining NC Fellows, why would you tell them to join or convince them otherwise?
Well, for me, Fellows has just been a big de-stressor. I gotta think about it. Okay.
Or why should someone join
right.
NC Fellows?
I would tell someone to join NC Fellows if they're looking for more opportunities for personal growth in a different, hold on, I'm going to repeat it because I don't even think I was that loud. Hold on, I'm going to do it one more time. Because I don't even think I was that loud. One more time. Ready, set, okay. I would tell someone to join NC Fellows if they're looking for more opportunities for personal growth in kind of like an unconventional setting. It doesn't have to be a formal student org that is, you know, doing things like, you know, the Bridge that I'm a part of, or a publication or anything like that. It's just a space for you all to get together, and then you can plan things as you feel necessary. Like I said, I find it low maintenance, even though we are involved, and that's something that our advisors understand as well, that we have lots of other commitments, but still pouring into this community is really important, and that's really what it is. You're getting this growth opportunity, this leadership experience in a community, as opposed to a very formal resume builder. So
how has NC Fellows prepared you for other aspects of your college life or future career? What do you think about it? You can answer them separately as well. The next question is, how has NC Fellows influenced your career paths or goals? So if you want to answer that separately.
I think Fellows, especially after the sophomore seminar, has given me a lot of potentially interpersonal skills, and just learning how to probe and ask people questions, but also work in teams and in groups. It has made me better able to relate to other people who are different from me, but still trying to, let's say, accomplish a goal, get a task done. It has taught me definitely my leadership style. I think that was one of the most brilliant things we did, was the Strengths Finder quest. And taking that assessment and really channeling like, oh, this is what I'm good at. These are my strengths. This is what I need to improve on. Having concrete things to elaborate on in a professional capacity, I think that is how Fellows has helped me.
Could you repeat the part about working together with people who are different?
Yeah.
And like still, once the bell.
Should we do it with the bell and still be loud? Or wait for the bell?
Let's just wait for the bell.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, just,
Okay.
just that one section.
So, what I think Fellows has most instilled in me in a professional capacity is interpersonal skills, being able to work with different people who are different than me, but also kind of having a concrete direction and concrete sense of what my actual strengths are. So I'm a very planned person. I think my strengths were like visionary or something like that, like using that Strengths Finder quest, if I can remember. That was really fundamental to me figuring out, it's like, okay, this is really what I am skilled in. This is what I need to improve on. Or this may not be a weakness, just something that I need to think differently about when I'm working with people who, although we are very different, we're trying to complete a similar goal.
Amazing. Okay.
What was my strengths quest?
I don't remember mine either.
Because it was helpful when I found it.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, okay, bet.
I should look at mine.
No, yeah.
Okay, so who is one person in NC Fellows that has made an impact on you and why?
Oh, there are so many. There are so many. Because is it a fellow classmate? Is that more what you're looking?
Doesn't matter. It can be a fellow classmate or one of our advisors, or either, both.
Okay. So I'm an NC Fellows with one of my closest friends, Tanner Jacobs. He is like a brother to me. I love him dearly. So having him there has been really great. We hold each other accountable, just kind of making sure that we are asking tough questions of one another as well. Advisor Sydney Howell, she's been really wonderful. I think particularly she's kept up with me while I was abroad over the summer. She has really poured into me and made sure that I'm, again, taking care of myself and doing all these things. And yes, being busy and being a leader, but understanding that, can't pour from an empty cup. So she's been really great and just keeping me in check. Another person I will say, I'll never forget this encounter. We were doing a thing in class, like a group thing or an assessment. But they said, talk to someone that you've never talked to. So I talked to Ben. And I was so pleasantly surprised talking to him. And so I think he's also one of the people that, surprisingly enough, has definitely impacted me and forced me to kind of change the way I look at things. And he's like, I know you're probably thinking like a white guy who's blonde and tall and pale and blue eyes and things like that. He's like, with every right, you're probably thinking these certain things, but no, he was super sweet. Till this day, he cracks me up, even though he is very quiet, and some people are like, what does Ben do? And it's like, he's hysterical. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Ben is so sweet. It's so funny. And I'll never forget it. He knows I was judging the shit out of him. Like, I was so funny.
I know, but he, like, at least he, like, recognizes
Exactly.
his privilege,
That's what I love about it. Like, he was just like, he wasn't even like performatively woke about it. He's like, I'm just very interested in white people's role in X, Y, and Z, and like why they can't seem to understand. Because he was saying, he's like, they understand it on like a big scale level, like people are racist, but like when it comes to interpersonal, like they like it's not clicking.
No,
it was just
like,
really
so
interesting.
Awesome that he's cognizant
Yeah,
of that.
no,
So
yeah, he's so
that's
sweet.
Really, all you need to be.
No,
Just
yeah,
aware of it.
honestly.
Even if you don't do anything about it, just
Right,
be aware
right.
of it. That's all.
Yeah.
You know? All right, cool. So I just want to touch on something you said. You said you're on the selection committee. So could you just say like?
Oh, the service committee. Yeah, yeah.
I'm a part of this. Oh, you're on
Service.
Sorry.
Okay.
So I'm a part of the service committee and we do that. So I was
Okay. Hold on just a second, because this is kind of an emergency.
You're good.
Somebody needs it. T. Contigliano. Yeah, so we just had Bloomberg interviews, and so I did that little like business journalism thing, and some of us from the diversity program, we went for interviews yesterday, and Amina is asking for his email address. She's like, and I know she was in interviews yesterday, so I don't know what she's emailing about, but yeah, okay. So, I am a part of the NC Fellows Service Committee. So what that entails is just basically being of service to the Chapel Hill community and the university community, but also, hold on, let me start that over. University community, Chapel Hill. So I am a part of the NC Fellows Service Committee. So what that entails is being of service to the UNC community and the campus community, but also Chapel Hill at large. And so one of the first things I asked when joining the committee last year was, what do you mean by service? And so something that I've been thinking about a lot is how to not make service one and done. These are not one and done projects, but to build long-lasting relationships with the people you're interacting with and the organizations, and so that it's sustainable. So something that we've been considering doing is working with Table, which is right down the road in Carborough, which focuses on food insecurity in Orange County, and just potentially partnering up with Carolina Cupboard as well. So we have a campus organization and a community organization in which we are consistently supplying them with things that they need. So.
Awesome. Cool. Is there anything else that you would like to add or say about NC Fellows or your experience or any fun facts about your life?
I think I'm good.
You're good?
Good.
Awesome. Thank you so much.